Oh, you're not gonna believe this. Hey, it's another day here at Freeman's Garage, and we're gonna get the fuel system sorted out on the 62 AMC Rambler that was abandoned for 47 years. Every week we get a little bit closer to driving this car. So recently we rebuilt the carburetor. That took 2 videos, but in the end it worked out fine. So now we need to remove and inspect the dual action vacuum fuel pump. Probably gonna need a rebuild. That's gonna be interesting. We need to inspect the fuel lines going back to the fuel tank, find out if we got to replace them or what's going on with that. And then the fuel tank itself, well, this car is a 62. It's got 1975 plates on it. It was sitting for 47 years. I mean, you know how it is with these things. That gas tank is probably destroyed inside. I'm sure we're gonna have to try to clean it. I don't know, we'll find out. That's a mystery for right now. All right, there's our dual action vacuum fuel pump. Doesn't look like we got too much to do to get this out of here. We disconnected that a while back, and why there's a brand new hose on here that goes nowhere, as this was something that we had put on in a previous video for testing purposes. We'll get this off right now and get it out of our way. And then I think there's just gonna be 2 bolts, one on each side. Looks like probably 1/2 inch or 9/16. And the redneck wind chimes are just, come on sweetheart, come on. God, how could you be on there that tight? Ugh! I don't understand how you could be on here that tight. Doesn't make any sense. Come on, I don't have all day. Let's go, hose. Do you got nothing better to do? Probably gonna slice my knuckles on the firewall when this hose finally pops off of here. How can you? Alright, I'm sacrificing an inch of brand new hose. Ah, there we go. I just blew pine needles all over the place. Good thing we got the carburetor covered. The rubber hose coming off the bottom of the fuel pump there, I believe that's the one that runs the vacuum operated wipers. And I'm sure that hose is hard as a chromoly axle shaft. So it'll probably just snap in half when we try taking it off. Oh no! No, I mean it's hard, but it's got a little bit of softness to it. It's still going to have to be replaced though. You know, the fun thing about having a fuel pump that pumps your fuel and operates your wiper blades is that you can have wipers that aren't wiping the rain off your windshield at the same time as the carburetor's not getting enough gas. Makes for a fun time. I'm gonna put this little oil pan underneath the fuel pump in case oil comes out when we remove it. I think I can get it lined up with the pump. You know what they say, close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes. Alright, so are you a 1/2 or a 9/16? Well, I don't think you're a 1/2, but you're not a 9/16. I think you just got a lot of grease built up on you there, bud. Oh yeah, you're just got a lot of grease on you. Alright. Oh. Well, that wasn't very tight. Maybe that's why there's already oil all over the place. Jeez, it's windy in here. She was just sitting on there with no bolts in. So I was trying to position you down in here so that you could get a view like this right up front when I wiggled the pump off. And when the camera wasn't rolling, she just decided to pop out all on her own. I can't get mad at it for taking the initiative. That's definitely an AMC fuel pump, all right. There's a lot of animal hair on it. Is that coyote? Let's take it to the clean room and tear it apart. Seeing nothing but Phillips head screws on this pump does not surprise me at all, because this is a Carter pump. Probably says Carter on the bottom or something. Yep, looks like it does right there. It seems like Phillips head screws is pretty much all Carter ever put on anything. Seems like it anyways. But we'll get this bell off on top here. This is where your fuel filter goes. So we'll get that off, and then we'll get all these screws out to get all this apart. And our flange right here, the part number should be somewhere around here. And we'll need that to order a rebuild kit if we choose to go that route once we get in here and see what things look like. If we do need to get a rebuild kit, or if that's what we choose to do, you're not just finding rebuild kits for a pump like this in the yellow pages. There's only a few mom and pop type places that I know of in the country where you can get this type of a kit. We definitely should have a pretty heavy duty spring in here, down in the bottom. Having a hard time finding an appropriate screwdriver bit. There we go, we got that one. I went through a whole handful here with every one of them. Felt like I was gonna strip these things out. Not what we want to do. That was a closey. I'm expecting a heavy duty, almost valve spring type size spring in here. Now the reason why we didn't clean off the outside of the pump before beginning to disassemble it is because I'm pretty sure that this thing's gonna get the full treatment. Alright, I can feel that spring starting to push up. You want to be a little bit careful with it. This is a really strong spring. Oh, what? You know, the last one I leave to get out is the most pain in the butt screw while I'm trying to hold this thing from knocking my two front teeth out. You know what? I don't know why I do it that way. You're not out yet? Come on. Alright, here we go. Ready? Okay, there we go. We're safe now. What fell out? Oh. Just crud from the outside. And that's what we're looking at. Jeez, this last one got close to stripping out. It was just giving me a real hard time for some reason. Okay, before we go any further here, I'm going to show you what's going on here. This fuel pump definitely needs a rebuild. I'm going to kind of sort of put some of this back together here just to show you this. So the top section of the pump, that's your fuel side. And this even comes apart as well. There's two screws there, and there's a valve. And then this diaphragm here has this spring inside. If you can see it, I'm trying to show you. There's a spring in there. This thing is all rotten and dried up. All of it is. Definitely needs a rebuild. But that's your fuel side. And then the bottom half of the pump, that's your vacuum side. And that's a vacuum diaphragm, and we will be taking that out. And there's valves right here as well. Those can come out and get replaced. Let's take this diaphragm out. And underneath here, there should either be a couple more valves or a couple more valves and filters, or just filter screens. I'm not sure, we'll find out when we take that out. And then I want to clean this flange up and see if we can find the part number on here, because we should double check that we can even get the kit for this specific pump. And I'm not 100% sure which pump it is until we find the part number. If my memory serves me correct, we should be able to compress the spring on the fuel side. And then just grab this nut here in the diaphragm and wiggle it up and out. There we go. I like these Carter pumps. They're pretty neat. Now we're a little sludgy in here. Oh, it's actually quite a bit of sludge. Pretty sludgy. And then we got valves and filter screens and more junk that makes things not work. This fuel pump's gonna look awesome when it's all done. Look at that. That's how clean it's gonna be. All right, starting to see numbers. All right, that's it. That's what we need. All right, I'm gonna go make a telephone call and find out if we can get the kit or not. If we can, I'm gonna place the order and I'll see you in a minute. All right, the kit's available. It's been ordered and all the parts are made in the USA. There's nothing else we're gonna do with the fuel pump today. When the rebuild kit comes in, we'll break it down further, get the valves and screens out and clean it up and make it look brand new and put it all back together and then put it on the car and test it. Let's move on to taking care of the fuel line now and then the fuel tank. So all we're gonna have is a short rubber fuel line that's gonna go from here to the fuel pump. Okay, and it's connected to this metal line that's gonna go all the way to the back of the car to the gas tank. And those are 5/16, I can tell just by looking at them. And I think earlier I said that I thought this line here was a vacuum line for the wipers. It actually goes around to the other side of the engine and it goes into the manifold for a vacuum. And then this line here is the vacuum line that comes off the fuel pump, the vacuum side of the pump, and goes to the wipers. But anyways, the short piece of rubber fuel line that we need, that's not a big deal. We got tons of that stuff laying around here in the garage. When the fuel pump's rebuilt and back on, then we'll know exactly what we need for length. So that's when we'll deal with that hose. So now, let's follow the steel line all the way to the back of the car. I just found significant rust. No! It's still a really solid car, just like we've thought this whole time through all the videos with this car, but man, I didn't know there was a spot that looked like this. It's kind of bad. It's on the passenger side rocker. Man, I love these car dollies. Perfect for a one-man show. Well, let's get under here and I'll show you what I found. I guess it's not in the rocker, it's more just underneath the front passenger's feet. A little Swiss cheese-esque. I think that's the headliner we're looking at through the hole. But it's not as bad towards the front. If we go to the back seat on this side though, looks like they tried to seal it with something at some point. Still a very solid car. More solid than most. Alright, let's get back to these fuel lines. Well, now that I crawled under here, I found a little bit more. All in that same area though. For some reason, it's this section of the car. The driver's side is perfect. How good is this fuel line though? It's not crumbling or breaking like it's rusted through. Going towards the rear of the car, it looks a little bit better. Doesn't look too bad. Either making its final run here to the fuel tank. Okay, it goes into a rubber line, which that rubber line, you know that's gonna have to be replaced. That's rock hard solid as a Chevrolet. And there it is, connecting to the sending unit on the fuel tank. We're gonna replace all the brake line on the car anyways, so we'll just go ahead and replace all the fuel line as well, all the rubber and all the steel. I can run that entire fuel line for 20 bucks. All right, let's move on to what's most likely sure to be a horror scene. The gas tank. 47 years it's been sitting. First I want to know if there's anything in it. I don't remember if I've tapped that thing yet or not. Hopefully it's not full because I'm 99.9% sure that we're dropping this tank right now to try to clean it. Oh, it's empty. Completely empty. We'll do the old sniff test for turpentine. You know, there's nothing wrong with turpentine as long as it's high-speed turpentine. A little rusty. A little bit of surface rust here. Not smelling anything. That's good news. Get a little bit closer. Okay, now it's starting to smell like an old gas tank. Not smelling much. Get the old tank checker 2000 out. Oh, the filler neck is unusually clean on the inside. Whoa! What? No way! You gotta be kidding me! No! Oh, you're not gonna believe this. Alright, I'm hoping you're gonna be able to see this. First, note how clean the inside of the filler neck is. Not now, magnet. And then the further you move in, it's still clean. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try to get you all the way in to see what I can see. Now there is a cobweb, but other than that, this tank is bone dry and spotless. I don't see a speck of rust. Might be very light surface rust. I mean, you might not want to make a turkey sandwich on it, but you can't tell me that that's not clean. I've driven across the country with some pretty nasty fuel tanks, so that looks mighty fine. We're not going to drop that and go through the whole cleaning process. It doesn't need it. We'll run an external filter just in case, but I think we'll be fine. We just need the new lines. Oh yeah. And rebuild the pump. And hope it works after we rebuild it. I know we didn't get a whole lot done on the car today, but this had to be done and it's part of the project and I'm bringing you along with. And very soon here, we're going to be putting new tires on the car and we're going to be preparing the whole unit to go out and chew up some pavement. What I'm saying is we're about to pick up the pace on this car because I can't wait to drive it. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and sharing the videos. I appreciate it. See you next time. Going down Rambler Town.